News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
KVNU News Time is 4:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Adams Wealth Advisors. On the monthly KVNU For the People County Hour on Wednesday, Cache County Executive David Zook indicated he would be eagerly watching how things develop with this year's Utah legislature, which has just barely gotten underway. Zook said he's very excited for this year's session because he feels northern Utah has what he calls a dream team of legislators. He said because of that, Cache County is probably in a better position than ever before. He had high praise for new Senator Chris Wilson, who is the chair of committees that oversee UDOT and road funding, and was recently given oversight over broadband.
Because one of the things that I've been pushing for over the last year is to get cell towers in Logan Canyon. And we can't do that until we first get a fiber line through there. And we can't get a fiber line through there until we first find $20 million to install it. That's expensive to put fiber lines in. It's especially expensive on a two-lane windy mountain road with the river on one side and the mountain on the other. It's very expensive to do that.
Zook has said that this is a very necessary public safety issue.
When we do that, when we get that fiber line in there, we'll be able to have cameras and signs, the changeable message signs that they can put up and give you warning about there's an accident ahead or it's icy ahead or so we'll be able to get those too. So not just cell towers, but traffic cameras and signage through that changeable message signs. So that's really good for us. That's something that I'm hoping to get out of this legislative session is funding to start that.
He said that Wilson has been side by side with him advocating on behalf of Cache County before the state and has really hit the ground running. KVNU News Time is 4:07. KVNU weather for tonight, cloudy, snow this evening, then a chance of snow after midnight. 1 to 3 inches accumulation expected, overnight low in the lower 20s, and then cloudy Friday morning and then clearing. High temperature in the mid-30s, partly cloudy on Friday night. Nice day, partly cloudy on Saturday, around 30 for the high. It's been to 29, it's 28 right now at KVNU. KVNU weather brought to you by Polylift Concrete Raising and Piering. They will stabilize, lift, and eliminate further settling by using Magnum Piering products to save you big money down the road. Polylift Concrete Raising and Piering are the foundation lifting experts. Visit poly-lift.com to schedule your free assessment or call or text 435-999-9309. Polylift is locally owned and operated.
Adams Wealth Advisors is the gold winner for financial planning in the Best of Northern Utah competition. Thank you for your vote. Putting clients first under any circumstance will bring peace of mind when working with Adams Wealth Advisors.
This is Craig Adams. At Adams Wealth Advisors, we are here to help you receive peace of mind whether you've done a lot of planning or a little planning. Count on our team at Adams Wealth Advisors for honesty, professionalism, and integrity.
Visit adamswealthadvisors.com or call 752-1702 to schedule a time with an advisor today. Please see adamswealthadvisors.com for more information on these recent awards.
KVNU News Time is 4:08. The Utah House of Representatives adjourned Wednesday without debating or voting on a resolution that would overturn mask mandates in Salt Lake and Summit counties. Senate Joint Resolution 3, sponsored by Senator Dan McKay of Riverton, quickly passed the Senate Tuesday afternoon, 22-5, on the first day of the session. But the House did not introduce the measure on Wednesday. Asked if the resolution would come up for debate Thursday, House Majority Leader Mike Schultz told KUTV it may not even happen as the House Republican caucus is still mulling it over. McKay said he filed the resolution because his constituents don't want government telling them what to do, and he questioned the efficacy of masks during the Omicron surge. The current Centers for Disease Control and Prevention guidance recommends mask wearing as a protection against all variants. Democrats have criticized the resolution for failing to follow science and reacting to a screaming minority who does not want to wear masks. It passed the Senate Tuesday without a public hearing beforehand, as bills usually get. And authorities say a man who was lying on a road in a Denver suburb has died after he was run over by a police vehicle. The Colorado State Patrol says the 37-year-old Salt Lake City man was run over Monday night by an Aurora Police Department officer driving a fully marked SUV. The State Patrol says the man was wearing dark clothes and had been seen drunk at a nearby store before he was hit. The State Patrol says in a statement the officer was on duty but not responding to a call when the man was hit. KVNU News Time is 4:10. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
Fast and first with the latest news every 30 minutes. News Talk KVNU, your number one radio station for news and talk.
Dr. Josh Redd, chiropractic physician, explains how Red River Health and Wellness can help you.
A lot of our patients end up having autoimmune conditions. This is where their immune system, rather than attacking bacteria, a virus, or other bad things, it starts to attack their own tissue. This can cause so many different issues and symptoms throughout the whole body. The biggest thing for us at Red River is to identify what's causing the autoimmune response to flare up. This could be intestinal problems, blood sugar imbalances, cortisol defects, hormonal imbalances, along with something as simple as dietary triggers and environmental triggers. One of the most common causes, too, when you have an autoimmune condition is you'll have inflammation throughout the whole body. Not every patient will have the same imbalances or the same triggers, and so we have to customize a very personalized treatment plan in order for these patients to feel better.
Schedule your appointment today at 855-55-RIVER. Red River Health and Wellness with offices in Logan, South Jordan, Springville, and St. George.
Call Red River today.
Hi, this is Drew Allen with Allen Mortuaries. Over the years, thousands of families have planned ahead with Allen Mortuaries. Planning ahead helps you make informed and thoughtful decisions. It also spares your family the stress of making these decisions under the pressure of time and strong emotions. Allen Mortuaries' secure pre-need trust plan can save you nearly 40% versus other plans. Keep it simple, safe, and secure. Go with the proven choice, Allen Mortuaries. Voted best funeral home in Cache Valley in northern Utah. Allen Mortuaries. Then, now, always.
This is Logan City Police Chief Gary Jensen. Scammers are continuing to target people in the Cache Valley. Fraudsters often threaten with arrest, withholding medical care for loved ones, or offer to sell or purchase items at discounted or inflated prices. Many of these scams often involve third-party gift cards or other money-exchanging services. If you receive an offer or are threatened like this with immediate punishment unless you comply, hang up and call the police to report it. Please do not become a victim.
For the people.
We are waiting with bated breath for news from the Cache Republican Party meeting an executive committee tonight.
With Jason Williams.
And I'm really excited about this next segment. We have two guests here in studio. We're going to talk about something that we've talked about many times here on the show, but from a bit of a different angle.
Weekday afternoons from 4 till 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People, Thursday, January 20th. I'm Jason Williams. Bill Walter here in the studio as well. Coming up, highlights from a discussion in the Utah Senate today. Members of Utah Senate leadership, Republicans and Democrats, talking about what is now 5 and possibly, they said 6 in the end, proposals to cut Utah's income tax rate. Competing proposals. One that is angering leadership because it's a lofty proposal proposed by a Utah House representative up for re-election that, obviously happening for political points, but it might stymie the whole thing and mean nothing happens. And Republicans in the Senate leadership today not happy about that and kind of scolding the House on this. We've got the audio for you and some highlights from today's legislative action, including, let's put it this way. It looks like digital driver's licenses in Utah are likely going to be a thing by the end of this legislative session. So a lot to talk about. Before we get to that, though, my favorite part of the week these days, to step away from all of this for an hour every Thursday at 4 with our friend Charlie Schill of CashValleyDaily.com here in the studio with us today and talk arts and entertainment. And Charlie, I sincerely mean that. It's a breath of fresh air to talk about this topic in general, especially when the news gets a bit heavy some weeks. But to talk to you, someone with the experience that you have in theater on both sides of the stage, but also someone who regularly reviews theater. You have a relationship with almost everyone in the arts and entertainment community here in Cache Valley due to your work over the years. So it's a real pleasure to have you in. And with that in mind, we had a fun question from a listener come in on Tuesday, and they wanted to know if you had a favorite historical theatrical production, a theatrical production that deals with an actual historical event or time or era, if there was one that was your favorite. And I tried then to think of how many there are that deal with an actual piece of history as a theatrical entertainment performance.
Well, there's a lot, of course.
Sure.
But
I couldn't complete the list. I kept adding and adding.
I think my favorite is Inherit the Wind.
Really?
Yeah. That's a courtroom drama based on the Scopes monkey trial.
Yeah.
You have characters that stand in for William Jennings Bryan, Clarence Darrow.
Oh, wow.
It's a great show.
I have never seen that one live.
Oh,
I'm familiar with the story and
there's some great movies of it.
Yeah, that's I've seen the movies, at least a couple, but I've never seen an actual live. That would be a fun one to see.
There's the older version that had come on, Spencer Tracy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as Clarence Darrow, or the Clarence Darrow character, and okay, can't call it up, but the other character is the person standing in for William Jennings Bryan.
Oh, wow!
Who actually was the prosecutor in the Scopes trial.
That's interesting.
It's a great show.
I'll have to make a note to check out some of the other film versions. Is it done often these days on stage?
I
don't remember.
I don't
seeing
think
it.
so. I don't. We did it once in high school. It was written, I think, in the late 40s, early 50s, something like that. It was when the movie was made with Spencer Tracy. It was fresh. Recently had been on Broadway. The other movie was George C. Scott.
That's the one I've seen.
Yes.
That one, and that's a good one. That's interesting. I'm going to make note of this and maybe do some watching in the upcoming weekend. As I was going through the list, I didn't mean to do this, but I got myself off on a tangent about, I guess specifically this era of Broadway that happened there for a little while in the late 80s, early 90s. But obviously, on my list of historical productions, Miss Saigon came up. And then I got off on this mental rant or this internal rant about So I had a chance just getting out of high school to go see some of these as part of a tour. As a graduation gift to a few of us from the school. And I remember, I hope this doesn't make anybody mad, I hated Miss Saigon and I hated Cats. I hated them both. I absolutely just disgusted by my time being taken up. And one of my frustrations with Miss Saigon is that it's remembered as this, this monumental production with stories from the Vietnam era, a historical piece basically. But really, the only reason it got so much attention is they land a helicopter on the stage.
Yeah,
the story's really not that great. The production isn't that great.
It's in that same era where you had all the shows with Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice. And
it got a little Hollywood.
It's not. It's not a show that stands up with Les Mis.
Sure.
Or even Phantom of the Opera, but it kind of got lumped into that category of stage epics.
Yeah, epics. That's the word that would often be used. But really, it came down to the fact that they had some, technical production side that was impressive. Landing a helicopter on the stage during a live show is impressive.
Yes.
But that's what got the attention, and at least with the other two, the Les Mis stage, I know itself was almost a character in the production, but it was functional. It was it was part of
the blockade.
Yeah. That's and so I always liked that, and then the big chandelier in Phantom, this huge chandelier crashing to the stage. It's impressive to see, but it's also part of the story. With Miss Saigon, it was just like, well, can we do this? Let's do this. Let's land a helicopter. Let's work it into the story somehow. It's what's popular right now. But yeah, but I did think, there are some great. I don't remember the names of them, but I have read about, not seen, productions that deal with some more complex bits of history, including the rise of the Nazis in World War II, some of the tragedies of even long ago history, the plague and things like that, and it got me thinking that some really serious themes have made their way into what is usually considered a popular form of entertainment.
Well, one of the really good ones, Jean Anouilh was a French playwright, and he worked in the late 40s, early 50s. He was obsessed with the whole concept of collaboration with the Nazis. And he did two wonderful shows. The first one was Beckett, in which Beckett is a Saxon, and he's friends with the Norman King of England, and they fight. The king says, "Oh, this is my buddy. We run around and chase girls together. So I'll make him the Archbishop of Canterbury, and won't that be fun?" And no, it wasn't fun for anybody.
It was not fun for anyone. That's interesting.
And the other one is The Lark, which is a story about Joan of Arc.
Oh, okay.
And it focuses on her trial by the English, which actually the English didn't try her. They arranged for the French clergy to try her.
Blamed it on them.
Yes.
That's
where the collaboration theme comes in.
That is interesting. I'm making note of both of these to see if I can find a bit about them. But I love this. I love the idea of, anytime pop culture, quote unquote, even, something more thoughtful like theater, can take history and present it in a way that it obviously has to be entertaining or people won't sit in the seats, but buy the tickets, but also at the same time, make you think or teach you a bit about history. And it's one of my favorite things. So appreciate the listener sending that question in. I was glad to pick Charlie's brain on this stuff. If you ever have a question, kvnuftp@gmail.com, or during the show, 753-5868. Charlie Schill of CacheValleyDaily.com, our guest this hour, talking arts, entertainment, theater, and more here in Cache Valley. We'll be back right after this.
Logan Dental Associates has been serving Cache Valley for over 20 years. They are excited to announce the addition of Dr. Brandon Preby, hygienist Emily Preby, and Dr. Curtis Taylor. Dr. Preby and Dr. Taylor will also continue to work at Cherry Creek Dental in Richmond. Now allow for increased hours and advanced services at Logan Dental Associates in Logan. Call and make your appointment with Dr. Brandon Preby or Dr. Curtis Taylor at Logan Dental Associates by calling 435-787-8207.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. As his second term in the Oval Office begins, President Biden seems to be putting out fires in every direction. How can he reset his time in the White House? Also, employers are using 401ks to attract workers and retain talent. Hear how the tax advantage plans are beefing up and managing rising food prices if your wallet's taking a beating. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived in Philadelphia. Local time is 3:05 p.m. and the temperature is 67 degrees. At this time, you are now free to use your cellular devices.
You know that feeling when you get to turn your phone on after the plane lands? You can have that feeling every time you drive. Make sure your cell phone is stowed away whenever you are behind the wheel.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Charlie Schill, our guest here this hour, talking theater in Cache Valley. I say theater in Cache Valley, but it's beyond even because last week we talked a lot about Pickleville and the announcement of their lineup with Beauty and the Beast and more. I laughed. I already told you this, Charlie. I'll tell listeners, but just after we wrapped up last week, I'm on Pickleville's mass texting announcement thing, and you'd left the studio. We were moving into hour 2. I don't remember what we were talking about. And my phone bings. I look down, and there's this message. And they always start, "Hey, this is TJ from Pickleville." And I know it's a mass text thing. I just thought that was funny. Like they were listening. And their timing was, well, Charlie just talked about it on the radio. Let's go ahead and announce this. And they made it official.
Well, they didn't contact me.
I started getting those after I signed up for. You'd actually tipped me off on this. There was a text a number you could text to get a discount on their 3-part web series that Pickleville did.
Yeah, the Christmas with that.
Yeah, and after that, I started getting text updates from Pickleville, and I bring that up because when we talked last week, we were talking about how it appears Pickleville plans to become a much bigger beast than it's always been, while retaining, because they have to, that Pickleville feel. They won't be landing a helicopter on that stage anytime soon.
See, that's what's interesting. We're going to have a production of Beauty and the Beast by Music Theater West in March.
Oh, sure.
They're going to be performing at the Eccles Theater. Big stage, and, Music Theater West loves to make it big and fancy.
That's true.
And they're going to do that. In June...
That'll be fun.
In June, we're going to also see Pickleville doing...
the exact same thing.
Doing Beauty and the Beast. Small stage.
Yeah.
Now, think about it. That show... works, that's
interesting.
There's the attack by the villagers with their pitchforks and torches. How are they going to do that on a tiny little stage?
That's going to be interesting.
How are they going to do the bar scene with
I forgot
Gaston.
about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
That's a mob scene from Ben-Hur.
Yeah. Wow, that'll be interesting to see.
It will be very interesting to see how they finesse that.
And it will be fun to just within a few months see the Music Theater West.
Yeah, and that's
production.
That's the worst thing, is that having two shows close together.
Yeah.
It invites comparison. It inescapably invites comparison.
That will be fun though, because this is one that I'll be honest with you, I've never seen a Pickleville scale production of this. I've seen what Music Theater West is likely to do, the productions. So
they've got elbow room and they'll use it.
That's right, and not a huge budget, but enough to do something. And then you've got Pickleville, with, even if they had a huge budget, what are you going to do? That stage is this studio is bigger. But, that will be really interesting. I hadn't thought of that.
Uh-huh.
That launches in June, right? The Pickleville production. And so Music Theater West in March, and then Pickleville starts it in June. That will be a fun contrast. I'll have to make sure to catch both. This is, I noticed our friend Wendy Hassan at Cash Arts has been, as we discussed, she likes to do, she's been sneaking new things onto that calendar.
Yeah, and taking things off.
Yeah, do you know anything about that?
The acrobats are gone.
They can't do it, or just decided not to?
It could be concern over the new variant of the coronavirus.
I wondered about that.
Or maybe the State Department won't let them in.
I wondered about that as well. Got
but
some
whatever
international relations.
Whatever
that
acrobatic show from China has gone away.
But
Wendy scheduled all kinds of resident shows.
Yeah. Even she added, coming up in February, the Banff Film Festival tour, which I believe is a first for Cache Valley.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been here before.
No, I'm kind of excited about that, especially with Sundance being
that's a 2-night
kind
deal.
Of canceled this year. But yeah, it's we have let's see, we still have the pet comedy thing is still happening. That didn't get canceled.
That's way off. That's like in late March or early April, something like that. But later this month, we've got the Plain White Tees performing.
Okay.
And you obviously know more about them than I do.
I've heard some songs.
Okay. And that show is sold out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, I that surprised me. It's getting, a little freaky. You can never predict what's going to sell out now.
I'll be honest with you. Last week we talked about you had a chance to go see The Choir of Man, and I was surprised to see how few seats were left on Friday when that show was happening on Saturday. I wouldn't have predicted that for something that, this really isn't well known. And we talked about it. Obviously, we filled some seats just discussing it here. But
you wonder about that.
Yeah, I honestly think when it comes to theater, something like this hour where we, and I'm not saying that the production companies owe us any kind of favor, although I'd wear your T-shirts. But I do think when it comes to theater, this is me. I should just only speak for myself here because I've never polled this or surveyed this amongst friends and family even. But I know for myself, I'm generally aware of what's coming. And then if I hear, and I'm the same way with movies, if it's not something, there are some things I'm just interested in. I'll do the work. I'll know when it's happening. I'll have my tickets, all that. There are a lot of other things that I'm open to, but something has to trigger me. Something has to get me to take action. And so a lot of times listening to a movie review, I went to a horror movie once because I heard the Salt Lake Tribune guy talking about it on the radio driving through Salt Lake one day, and I heard him talking about this horror movie. I'm like, well, that sounds interesting. I guess I want to see that after all. And I went, and I was disappointed, but but yeah, I'm that person. And so I do think there are a lot of people out there like me who are open to it, maybe thinking of something different to do they don't usually do on the weekend. And then they hear you talking about something, and they go see their tickets still available, and they buy them. And
I'd like to think that, but I'm not sure.
It's hard to tell. Because also something about Cache Valley is we're pretty cheap.
Yeah.
We're a frugal folk. And
Wendy's touring shows can be a little pricey sometimes.
Yeah, that's... I noticed that Airplay, we've talked about this before, but September, that was in September. Tickets were $30. And I know a lot of folks I talked to thought it sounded interesting, were curious, but $30. I don't know what the threshold is for Cache Valley, but I know the threshold is lower than it is in Salt Lake.
Yeah, considerably. But $30 is not unusual for those touring shows.
Sure. It's reasonable, especially when you consider, for certain I saw Chris Stapleton at Usana Amphitheater a couple of years ago, and I think it was almost $80 all said and done for a ticket. And so you
Chris would have to shave and dress up for me to pay.
He did not. He did not. Jogging suit pants and a button-up shirt, I think, is what he was wearing that night. That was a funny story along these lines. Years ago, my mom was a huge Gary Morris fan, and he came to the Eccles Theater years ago. And as we were walking in, I got tickets sort of as a gift, and she and I and another family member went. And as we're walking in, there's this guy standing behind the Eccles Theater smoking a cigarette right outside the door. And he just looks like he literally rolled off of an overnight Greyhound trip. You know, dirty jogging suit pants, a wrinkled T-shirt. He hasn't shaved. His hair's a mess, and he's just standing there smoking. And we nod and walk past him, and then we get inside. We sit down in our seats. This guy comes out, picks up the guitar, and steps up to the microphone. It was Gary Morris.
And he didn't clean up before he went on stage.
No, he was not impressed enough to. Yeah, it was funny. Great show, though. Oh, man. Charlie Schill, our guest here in the studio, talking theater, arts, entertainment, and everything in between here in Cache Valley. There is a lot coming up. We also have USU theater kicking things off here in a few weeks. So stay tuned. Find out what's happening in the theater world after this look at the headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News Time is 4:36. The news is brought to you by the Duck Hunters. Since Wednesday, 22 more Utahns died of COVID-19, including a Box Elder County man between 45 and 64 years of age, and a man from Cache County between 65 and 84 years. Both were hospitalized at the time of death. From the start of the pandemic, the lives of 4,019 Utahns have been lost to the virus. That includes 201 in Cache, Box Elder, and Rich counties. The Utah Department of Health reported 11,608 new COVID-positive cases, the fourth highest daily case count since the start of the pandemic. Included in the new cases are a whopping 775 new cases since Wednesday in northern Utah. Since the pandemic started in March 2020, there have been 814,388 positive cases in Utah, 44,458 in Cache, Box Elder, and Rich counties. Since the outbreak started, 1,795 in the Bear River Health District have been hospitalized. Idaho's largest ever tax cut has cleared the House and is headed to the Senate. The House voted 57-13 to approve the $600 million cut that includes $350 million in rebates and $250 million in ongoing tax cuts for people and businesses. The $350 million is coming in part from the state's $1.9 billion budget surplus. The ongoing tax cuts reduce the top individual income tax rate and corporate income tax from 6.5% to 6%. Backers say the tax cuts return money to the people who paid it. Opponents say the tax cuts mostly benefit the wealthy at the expense of basic government services such as education. And a judge has sentenced a California man to 9 months in prison for a drunken rampage in Yellowstone National Park. Prosecutors say 27-year-old Benjamin Begala of Santa Rosa, California, did thousands of dollars in damage to a hotel and struggled with rangers trying to subdue him at the hotel and in an ambulance. A paramedic eventually subdued Begala with the drug ketamine. Begala pleaded guilty to assaulting law enforcement officers and damaging federal property. U.S. Magistrate Judge Mark Carman also ordered Begala to stay out of Yellowstone and not use alcohol for a year. KVNU News Time is 4:39.
Does your home have that stuffy winter smell? John at the Duct Hunter says it could be your air ducts holding on to dust and other surprises. To get rid of that smell, give John a call at the Duct Hunter. He'll thoroughly clean each duct in every room. Not with a shop vac, but with forced air and a vacuum that'll make your mom proud. He can even run a camera through your vents to see what's going on. For a free consultation, call the Duct Hunter at 770-4813.
We are the Duck Hunter. Breathe better, save money, protect your home. We are the Duck Hunter.
KBNU weather tonight, cloudy skies, snow developing this evening, chance of snow after midnight, accumulation 1 to 3 inches, overnight low in the lower 20s, and then cloudy Friday morning and then clearing, high temperature in the mid-30s. It's been to 29, it's 28 right now at KBNU. KBNU weather brought to you by Wheatland Seed. With higher fertilizer prices and drought conditions, 2022 will be challenging. So lower your input costs during Wheatland Seed's preseason sale. All oats, barley, cover crops, and alfalfa will be priced below last year's prices. Visit wheatlandseed.com for more information. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com. We check Wall Street now with Edward Jones.
This is Cheryl, bringing you the Daily Financial Market Report on behalf of Jeff Olson and Edward Jones. Stocks attempted to rebound today, but major indexes gave up their morning gains and closed lower. The Nasdaq once again led the losses after falling into correction territory yesterday, declining more than 10% from the November highs. The one bright spot in today's trading was international markets, which so far this year have outperformed U.S. equities. Asian stocks soared overnight on news that the Chinese authorities cut key interest rates, a step towards further easing to bolster growth. The 10-year Treasury yield was little changed at 1.83%. U.S. equities closed lower today. The Dow closed down 313 points at 34,715. The Nasdaq closed down 186 points at 14,154. The S&P 500 closed down 50 points at 4,483. In stocks of local interest, Nucor was down 3.91 to 100.34. Thermo Fisher was down 5.21 to 588.16. Wells Fargo was down 0.57 to 55.0. Walmart was down 2.72 to 141.22. Apple was down 1.72 to 164.51. Walt Disney was down 2.49 to 147.62. Northrop Grumman was down 4.24 to 397.41. Amazon was down 92.63 to 3,033.35. This has been today's financial market report, brought to you on behalf of Edward Jones, member SIPC, and financial advisor Jeff Olson, serving individual investors with personalized attention and financial advice at 580 North Main in Logan. If you would like additional information, please contact our branch office at 435-787-8170. Daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
I'm Larry Gelwicks, the getaway guru for Morris Columbus Travel and Norwegian Cruise Line. Cruising is back with free airfare for the second guest, 30% off your cruise fare, and on select cruises, the third, fourth, and fifth guests sharing your cabin sail free. Just pay the taxes. That's free air, free cruises, and 30% off. For the best travel deals on the planet, call Morris Columbus Travel.
Come on and get away, Morris Columbus.
Coming up on the Friday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, Clay is back and Buck's in his final day of quarantine. They're going to be talking to you about what's going on with the COVID fight. We'll have Senator Rand Paul with us to discuss. Also, Art Laffer on the economy and all the laughably bad moves that Joe Biden's making on it. We'll discuss that and more coming up on a Friday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Charlie Schill, our guest here in the studio, talking theater in Cache Valley, northern Utah at large. Everything you'll be able to get out and see this upcoming weekend and weekends to come. He joins us every Thursday at 4. You can read his work, though, daily at CacheValleyDaily.com, both news stories, theater reviews, and more. And they're at CacheValleyDaily.com. And Charlie, again, thank you for taking the time to join us here in the studio each week. You wanted to get to this. So we joked that Wendy Hassan at the Cache Valley Center for the Arts constantly adding stuff to the calendar. Some things disappearing, like the Peking Acrobats. That show either canceled or postponed. One of the two. Either way, you can't buy tickets for it. And she's added some events, snuck some things in here and there, as she always does, including some of these resident events that have popped up on the calendar. At least to my knowledge, just since we talked last week. Am I correct in that, or
no,
did I miss them?
I think they've been around for a while longer.
I just missed them.
Yeah, Wendy's got the resident events under one menu and the touring events under another, and you can get sidetracked and not realize you're missing a few.
That's what I've done.
One of the most interesting that's coming up, January 29th to February 4th, is this Logan Youth Shakespeare, and they're going to do Macbeth, which should be interesting.
That's I really am. For $8, it's cheap. I'm curious to see if, because it's Macbeth, and if you know the story, you know. I mean, this is not family entertainment.
You die, she dies, everybody dies.
Everyone's having, a complete crisis of faith in every. I mean, it's actually a really dark story, and I'm curious if a bunch of kids on the stage can pull that off.
Yeah, well,
we'll see.
We'll see.
That is, let's see, January 29th through February 4th. 4th,
yeah.
Okay.
And there's one matinee, Saturday, February 5th. Oh. Okay.
Maybe not.
Saturday, February 5th.
Oh, okay. They've added a matinee.
I guess, at 2 p.m. And they're performing not on the main stage in the Eccles Theater. They're in the Center Carousel Ballroom in the Bowen Center.
Oh, okay.
I think that's upstairs.
Upstairs, basically.
Yep.
You go around the side as you come in, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and that is, so the Logan Youth Shakespeare presenting Macbeth, January 29th to February 5th, actually, with that Saturday matinee being added.
And I've never seen any of those, and I think we ought to try it.
Yeah, that would be, and support him, to keep him doing this type of thing.
The next up on the residence calendar is something called the Johnson Files.
I'm looking at this now. He's standing there with a gigantic flower in his mouth. Here on the website, some guy.
Apparently, this is a standard feature on YouTube, and these people supposedly have got a huge following online. So that should be interesting. The show is on February 12th. And they haven't sold any tickets yet, interestingly enough. Tickets will go on sale tomorrow.
Oh, okay. That's okay. So that's third on the list there.
It's an improv thing.
Okay. Makes sense.
And then there's the Banff Film Tour from February 19th to the 22nd.
That's kind of what I'm seeing here.
No, it's a 2-night deal.
Okay, 18th and 19th?
18th and 19th, right.
Okay.
And it's you buy the tickets for $30, and you can get in both nights.
Okay. That's and I'm excited about this one. USU Outdoor Outdoor Products is kind of involved in bringing this in, or USU Outdoor Programs, sorry. And Camp Saver both involved with bringing this in, as I understand it. And this thanks to Sundance, this will be my only film festival this year, I think. So looking forward to this one.
It's all outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
watching people climb up cliffs and doing, what did they used to call it? Danger activities. Something like that.
What is that?
Extreme.
Extreme sports.
Yes.
That is.
Vin Diesel will be performing.
That's right. That is.
Anyway, this is a film festival that started in Banff, Alberta, up in Canada, and apparently outgrew its ability to perform in one location. Now they do a 1 week event in Canada, and then they tour everywhere.
Oh, okay. That's very cool.
They take a selection of their best shorts and video productions and take them out on the road.
Oh, very cool. That's and as we were discussing, I think this is the first time anything Banff related has been in Cache Valley that I know of. So very cool.
That's for sure. And then starting in early March, from March 4th to the 12th, yeah.
Okay, 12th, yeah.
Is Beauty and the Beast.
Music Theater West.
Music Theater West.
This is if you were listening earlier, this is the big production that will be followed in June by Pickleville's tiny production of Beauty and the Beast. Good opportunity to contrast there. The next one on the list, I forgot this was happening, and we talked about it quite a bit. Cinderella.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot this was coming up.
That's a ballet.
And that is usually very popular, which I'll be honest with you, I don't get.
Well,
ballet is the one thing that misses me. My brain wanders.
I can take it or leave it. But these shows have a tremendous following with little girls.
Yeah.
One of the things I really was upset about was that the Cache Civic Ballet had scheduled the Firebird.
Oh, okay.
With Jade Wimmer dancing the starring role.
Oh, wow.
And she's been around for years. And if you get dragged to the Nutcracker, you watch this little girl. First she plays the little girl, and then she plays the Sugar Plum Fairy, and then she plays the Queen, and it's like watching her grow up.
That's very cool.
It's great, and she was very talented. And the show got canceled because of COVID.
Yeah, that's right.
And I really wanted to see, that was going to be her farewell to Cache Valley, and it would have been wonderful.
I forgot about that getting canceled.
But little girls love ballet, for starters. It's an opportunity for them to dress up.
Yeah.
And they come in their princess dresses and all that kind of stuff with their parents. Usually they have a tea before the performance on weekends, where the little girls, the ballet fans, can run around and actually see the ballerinas. And that's fun.
Okay, I get that. I get that for little girls this would be a really fun.
And I've seen the entire audience packed when they're doing the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how well tickets sell for these other shows, but Sandy Emile does a wonderful job with these kids.
Yeah. And I think that the idea of making this happen, a lot of work goes into that.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's all right. Charlie Schill, our guest here in the studio, running through the resident calendar at the Cache Valley Center for the Arts. CacheArts.org is the website, and we'll be back. There's still more on the calendar to get to right after this.
It's the start of a new year, and your friends at Heritage Ram want to help you to look forward to 2022 with the Start Something New sales event. Get 1.9% for 60 months, plus $2,750 total bonus cash on 2021 Ram 1500 Classic Warlock Quad Cab 4x4s. Find out why Ram is the brand with the highest pickup loyalty in America, and experience the Heritage difference. The Start Something New sales event, all month long at Heritage, your hometown dealer with the biggest deals.
It's the winter weekend everyone loves, Bear Lake's Monster Winter Fest. January 21st through the 23rd. Go to bearlake.org for details on events, plus hotel and lodging deals. Come up for a weekend of food and tons of fun as hundreds of people brave the icy cold waters of Bear Lake for the Monster Bowler Plunge. There's a chili cook-off, cardboard boat regatta, fun run, and Cisco Disco fishing tournament. Go to bearlake.org for all the info and lodging specials. The Monster Winterfest, January 21st through the 23rd in Bear Lake.
When the bills from your accident pile up, it's time for you to consider professional legal counsel. Get the Bear. Berenson and Caldwell.
My dad was in a car accident. He was rear-ended by a work truck. He sustained some pretty bad injuries. What we didn't know at the time was that he also had sustained a traumatic brain injury, and it really affected his personality. You know, if he had just had an MRI, if he'd had someone pushing him to get checked out, make him feel confident that he wasn't going to end up going bankrupt with medical debt.
Visit BerensonLaw.com to instantly connect and receive a free case review of your injury. BerensonLaw.com.
Welcome back to KVN News for the People. Just a few minutes left with our guest Charlie Schill here in the studio from CashValleyDaily.com. You can read Charlie's work each and every day there at CashValleyDaily.com, but once a week he joins us here in the studio every Thursday at 4 to talk theater in Cache Valley, and we've been talking a lot of theater in Cache Valley because there is a lot of theater in Cache Valley, and we've only made it, are we only halfway through the resident calendar here? No, we made it to Civic Ballet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, everything else is you've got SpongeBob the Musical in April, Collision of Rhythm in April, and then the Comedy Pet Theater Hour thing in May. So if that's on your list. What do you know about this Dance Source Spring Concert that's been added? I'm not familiar with that.
Say again?
It just says the Dance Source Spring Concert, May 14th.
I think that's a local dance thing, and they're just having a recital.
Okay. And then after that, the Utah Festival Opera kicks off. And
Yep.
so you mentioned you wanted to say a few things about USU as well. They're getting underway in 3 weeks.
Yeah, they've got a show called The Moors, that's going to open in mid-April. No, mid-February, pardon me. And then there's another show called Get Near Baby that's in early March. And then they're going to close out their season in mid-March with 9 to 5, musical.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm excited about that one.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun to see.
The Moors is kind of a gothic mystery sort of thing. When we've talked about it before, I said I've read the synopsis and it sounds like come on, the Bronte.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of Sense and no, Pride and Prejudice.
No.
I'm running through all of these.
Come on,
Wuthering Heights. Okay.
Wuthering Heights, and Wuthering.
That's Jane Austen. Come on.
The Moors sounds like Wuthering Heights added to Turn of the Screw.
Oh, okay. Oh, that could be kind of fun.
That could be fun.
That's
and there's going to be a dog on stage.
Oh, really? Oh, that complicates things. We'll see how that goes.
Whether the dog is a real dog or somebody in a dog suit, I don't know.
For tickets to USU Theater Productions, by the way, it's the Kane College of the Arts website, which is cca.usu.edu. Everything else we've discussed here, you can get tickets to those that aren't sold out at casharts.org. Charlie will be back with us next week for another episode. Until then, read his work at cashvalleydaily.com each and every day. Hour 2 of today's show and a recap of this week's legislative session so far, right after this here on KVNU Logan.